So recently, a bunch of unaired pilots found their way online, dating back to the 90s. What I want to do is look at these pilots and determine two things. 1, did it have potential? And 2, how different would popular culture be if this pilot was picked up for series? Today we're opening up the pilot vault and looking at the pilot for a show called Open Books. The second pilot we've covered that was directed by James Burrows, the creator of Cheers. At the time of recording this video, the new series of Frasier is yet to come out, and he's directing the first 2 episodes of that, so hopefully that goes down better than this pilot did. So what happens in this pilot? Well, it's a sitcom about a book editor and her relationships with the people she knows. So the title is a pun because she is an open book and works on open books. Right, let's give this pilot a watch, shall we? We start the episode with the Dean from Community talking to the main character, June. He's talking to her as though she's his therapist. She sends the writer away and then works on some office stuff. It's not very interesting. We then meet June's fiance, Mark. Hey, that's my name. Now, based on everything I know about characters called Mark, he's going to cheat on her at some point. He brings her some meatball subs which spill all over his briefcase. It's meant to be like a nice quirky character moment, but it's just, why is it in there? He doesn't have much of a role in this at all. The sitcom is so busy it doesn't really need his character, so they had to force in this funny bit where he comes in with spilled meatball sub, because otherwise he'd only have one scene in this pilot. Then June gets a call and she has to run out, leaving him with the messy sandwiches. The place she works for, Becca, how do you pronounce that? It looks like she asked AI to come up with the sign for the wall. You know how it doesn't quite know how to get words right sometimes, so adds like extra letters in there? That's what that sign looks like. We then cut to the Empire Diner in New York. Now, this place has been used in loads of TV and films. It's the diner from Men in Black. Kevin McAllister walks past it when a tall Santa Claus is outside it in Home Alone 2. And it was in the Woody Allen film Manhattan, to name a few. I'd love to see the IMDb credits for this diner because it's probably in loads of stuff. Then we meet June's friend, played by Aisha Tyler, who's in All Sorts, Whose Line Is It Anyway, Criminal Minds, The Ghost Whisperer. She wants June's clothes so she can go for an audition, so they switch clothes and she leaves. It's a shame really because I really like Aisha Tyler. She probably should have been the star of this sitcom. Not that I don't like the actor who plays June, I think she does a perfectly fine job. It's just Aisha is great and I wish there was more of her in this pilot. It's then when June recognises an old familiar face, an old flame of hers in the diner. He ran away 2 years ago and she hasn't seen him since. Apparently he's a writer and one of the waitresses recognises him from the book cover. Who recognises people from book covers? They catch up on what's happened in the last few years and he tells her that he went to India to learn more about himself. I wonder if he bumped into Bridget from the Bridget show, because that's exactly what she did as well, wasn't it? He wants June to be the editor for his new book. There's definitely chemistry there. Honestly, the actors in this are all pretty decent, and you can definitely sense a connection between these two. And you know what? The writing isn't even that bad either, as it stands, and I'm only a few minutes into this pilot. But I don't quite understand why this wasn't picked up yet. Maybe we'll figure it out along the way. June reads the guy's book in the diner, and finds herself running late for dinner with her mum. We then meet her mother, and I was immediately getting theatre vibes from her. I did drama in school, so I know a theatre kid when I see one. The way she acted, like she gave these over-exaggerated expressions as though she was used to performing on stage, instead of to a camera 2 feet away. So I looked her up and it's Patti LuPone, a musical theatre star. Of course she is. She's won 3 Tonys, 2 Grammys. Yep, of course she has. Called it. I think I just have a detector that goes off whenever there's a theatre kid nearby. June learns that her mother has broken up with her partner and she's being all dramatic and theatre-like before leaving. June returns home and her husband Mark is a big fan of the new outfit. Then Aisha Tyler comes around to get her boots back because she has an audition for the role of a hooker. She sort of just runs in, kicks up a storm and then leaves. Now, the intention of this pilot is to give us a little insight into how chocker June's life is. It's busy and she barely ever gets a moment to herself because of how quick these scenes are where people run in, get what they want from her and leave. The cast of this sitcom is bigger than what we usually have to deal with in these pilots. Now I kind of understand why someone at the network turned this down, because a lot happens in it. I can imagine them getting a little overwhelmed watching it and thinking it's too busy, and I think that criticism is really fair. Then she gets a call from her old flame, who makes her stay up and give him notes on his book, despite the fact that she was just off to bed. And they have a debate about romance and stuff. We're meant to be intrigued about, who she's gonna end up with. Will she stay with her husband or will she go with this guy? I guess we'll never know. The dean comes around and Jim Rash does what he usually does, hams it up a little bit. And then, what kind of chicanery is this? It's Chuck, 5 years before he starred in Better Call Saul. It turns out he's playing her mother's partner, the one she broke up with, but he wants to be a client of June's and he's writing his own book. She criticizes his writing, saying, "What kind of person is called Vinny Lasagna?" Vinny Lasagna? Oh, I know him. Here he is. June makes out with her old flame after thinking he was propositioning her, but it turns out he wasn't interested in that, he just wanted to talk about his book. This is where he learns that she is getting married, and wow, when I said earlier that Mark was going to end up cheating on her, I guess I backed the wrong horse on that one. June freaks out and goes to visit Aisha Tyler, which is a nice change in direction. All this pilot, people have been coming to June for her to fix their problems. But now she has a problem that needs fixing. That's your typical story circle stuff. See, here's the thing. Aisha Tyler is a really good actor, like we said before. She does comedy stuff really well. We saw that when she was in Whose Line Is It Anyway? Her comedic timing's really good. And she was also great in Criminal Minds, so she can do drama as well. But in this, she doesn't really bring much to the table, and it's not her fault, but it's a shame. I hate a show that does nothing with top tier talent. Same goes with Michael McKean. Imagine getting him and then deciding to only have one scene with him. Sure, they were setting him up to appear in future episodes, but still, just having him show up and go, "I'm a character who will appear more in the future," it doesn't really do anything for us. Just feels like a waste. June learns that the guy she kissed is sleeping with Aisha Tyler, so we've got a bit of a love triangle thing going on. I paused it on her reaction to this right, and I'm pretty sure this image will haunt my dreams. June is obviously uncomfortable that her old flame is now dating her best friend, so she needs someone else to talk to, so she goes to her mum, but she's busy as well. They have a little talk in the hallway, and is there a painting of a street in New York? In an apartment in New York? Why don't you just look out the window? I don't know why that confused me more than anything else in this pilot. It's like living in a flat in Paris and then having a poster of the Eiffel Tower on your wall. Just weird, isn't it? Just look out the window. We then cut to her office where June is sleeping on the couch to avoid her husband. Her assistant doesn't care about any of this. This assistant is a very underwritten character. I'd love to reach out to the actor and see if they bothered to proper get into the mind of this character like Daniel Day-Lewis does. She goes home at the end of the day and she just can't get out of the character's head. She's just booking appointments that don't exist, having a proper crisis. June finds that someone has left her flowers and she doesn't know if it's from her husband or the guy she fancies. It turns out it's from the dean. Then, in true story circle form, June lies down and talks to someone as though they are her psychiatrist. Look at that. It's like poetry, it rhymes. We nailed the story circle there. And that's the end of that. That was Open Books. Not the funniest show ever made, but hey, it's James Burrows, so it was directed well. This was written by Gail Lerner, who wrote a bunch of episodes of Will and Grace, and yeah, that makes sense. Because I'd say this was about on par with your average Will and Grace episodes. Not terrible, but nothing special by any means. So where does this pilot rank among the other unaired pilots that I've looked at? Well, I think it's fair to call this pretty mid. I'd say this had more potential than Man-Child and Back. See, I could easily see this running for the full 22 episode season. So yeah, I'll put it between Back and The Gilded Lilies, that's fair. Right, are there any other unaired pilots you want me to talk about? If so, let me know in the comments and subscribe, help us get to 4K. Right, there you go, bye.